After the 2012 presidential election, the Republican Party put together what they called a post-mortem to look into how they lost two elections in a row. This time, it's the Democrats who are doing some soul-searching. Here's what Senator Bernie Sanders had to say this week.
When you lose the White House to the least popular candidate in the history of America, when you lose the Senate, when you lose the House, and when 2/3 of governors in this country are Republicans, it is time for a new direction for the Democratic Party.
And here with us now is our political analyst, Professor Caroline Heldman from Occidental College. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Serene.
We heard Senator Sanders. How bad was this really for the Democratic Party, in your opinion, Professor?
Well, it wasn't a catastrophic election in the sense that the Democrats, when all of the votes are in, will have won in the national vote by about 2 million. In the Electoral College vote, obviously, the two conflicted. We saw this happen in the year 2000 with Al Gore and George W. Bush. So it tells us that the electorate is incredibly divided, but it's not necessarily a catastrophe for the Democratic Party in the sense that people are saying, simply because they got more popular votes. And I would note that, Bernie Sanders is talking about a fight for the soul of the party, but he's an independent, right? You saw the I next to his name. While it certainly is at some level, at the end of the day, it will be the Democrats, the Democratic leadership, who decides the direction of the party, not the folks from the outside who don't actually identify as Democrats.
And so what do they do? I mean, they're going to have a post-mortem. They're going to take a look at what happened. And what do they do moving forward?
Well, I think what they absolutely need to do immediately is work on getting a better bench, right? The leadership on the Democratic side is older. They, I think, perhaps are out of touch, certainly with folks who liked Bernie Sanders in the primary, for example. On the Republican side, you have this young, vibrant leadership. So the Democrats need to get that bench in place. I think they also need to address some of the structural challenges that they faced in this election. One is the Electoral College, right, which gives a benefit or an unfair advantage in terms of one person, one vote, right, to rural white voters. So, for example, someone's vote in Wyoming counts 3 times the amount in the Electoral College as someone's vote in California. So the Democrats need to get rid of that system. They also need to address gerrymandering, the redistricting that has made it very difficult for them to get seats in the House of Representatives. And that's a partisan thing that has happened at the state level. And they also need to address voter ID or voter suppression, which the courts are just starting to get involved in. But frankly, the Republicans have been strategizing for 3 decades in order to get a dominance that well goes beyond what their numbers are in the population, and they've been incredibly effective at doing that. The Democrats are playing catch up.
Do you think it's over for Hillary now?
I do. I think that her, her career is over in the sense of electoral politics. I think, there's a lot of people who still want to see her do things, see her out in the public making decisions. But at the end of the day, it's got to be exhausting to do this twice, to come up against incredible sexism both times. The role that it played in both elections, at least in the first election, is something that I documented as a researcher. But in this particular election, it's got to be really exhausting after hearing hashtag shrillery and having your, you smile too much, you smile too little, she doesn't look good from behind. I mean, all of this incredible sexism, in addition to running for electoral politics, it's got to be tiring. So I wouldn't be surprised if she sat out of the public eye for a while.
But do you think the country may be ready for a female president if it's the right candidate?
No, I think what has happened every time we've seen the 10 candidates who've come forth, they've all been vilified. So I don't think it's anything particular about Hillary Clinton. We saw the same thing with Elizabeth Dole. We saw the same thing with Shirley Chisholm, with Margaret Chase Smith, going all the way back through history. Anytime a woman tries to get into that office, she ends up being vilified and seen as corrupt and as vile at some fundamental level. So I don't think we can separate Hillary Clinton's experience in this past election from what all women experience when they try to gain the presidency.
Very interesting. We thought we might be finished talking about this, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
There you go.
Caroline Heldman, professor at Occidental College, thank you so much for lending your insight for us this morning. We hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.